What is up, maniacs? Welcome back to Sound and Pound. It is not Tuesday. It is Wednesday today, March 27th, 2024. I am your host, alongside the other host, Drake Riggs and Alex Behunin, here to bring you all the wackiness in the world of mixed martial arts. I feel a little bit off today, Alex, because it is Wednesday. Does it feel different to you?
A little bit, bro. A little bit. Yeah. I woke up today. I was like, "What? It's not Tuesday."
Yeah, right. But we can blame the PFL for that because Alex was at the media day at Extreme Couture yesterday. I know we've
Yeah.
uploaded some today.
Yep.
Of the scrum, so you guys can check those out. Get the shameless plugs right out of the way. We got plenty of great interviews and content here this week. As we'll just get them right out of the way too. I spoke to Charles Oliveira yesterday, Irene Aldana, Javier Mendez recently. Those are all up now, so you can check them out here. But stay with us right now, as we are live, of course, and you can chime in, ask your questions and whatnot throughout the show. The ones that are less related to the topics we'll talk about, we will get to at the very end. And we appreciate you tuning in wherever you are from or platform you're on, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all that good stuff. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll be talking about this stretch that we're in, but for UFC 300, because it is a stretch. There's been some good, though. I mean, it's nitpicky, but we like to get the brief summaries of the last week out of the way, Alex. How did you feel about the pretty forgettable UFC Vegas 89?
I mean, it's just what it is. It's forgettable. I already forgot about it, to be honest with you. Like,
yeah. It's it was another card. It was another card. But
yeah, when Peyton Talbot and Andre Lima, who got bit, are the two biggest things that come out of the event,
pretty telling. So we'll kick that right off with the maniacal moment of the week, because that's what it is. Sorry, guys. It's the bite. The bite is clearly the maniacal moment of the week, at least for me, in terms of the, that's inside, outside the cage story. It's a little bit of a hybrid there, but ridiculous. I mean, we don't see that very often, if ever. I think this is the first. I know that this is the first time it's led to an actual disqualification in the UFC, Alex. I don't remember it happening in a regular event. I know it happened on The Ultimate Fighter. Don't remember which season, but I think it was John Manley got bit or did the biting, if you remember that, in the Tough House. I don't remember who he was against. It might have been like 15 or 16, but he got a good old chomp, and then the guy gets a tattoo of it the same night, and Severino gets cut same day. Whole lot of stuff. I mean, I guess for you following the story in the building, what was that like? I'm sure it was fun backstage, man.
Yeah, I mean, it was just so the crazy thing was like what the fight was like very fun. It was a fun fight to watch, and then it happens, and then like I was cage side for it, and we were just kind of looking like, what the hell happened? What the hell happened? And like, it didn't look that bad, but then like when he actually showed the bite, everyone was like, holy
Yeah,
dude, he bit down with it. And I was arguing, or I was telling like my thoughts on it on another podcast yesterday, but like, I think the UFC did the right thing by cutting him. And I say that because, he is 20 years old. There's been other instances of things happening that like fighters don't get fired, but like biting somebody is just a dirty thing to do. It is. It's just
literally
one of the dirty, 1000%. Like, I also thought Priscilla Caceres should have been cut when she gouged out the eyes, because I think that's probably worse than biting. But like,
yeah.
it's just a dirty thing to do. And like you've been fighting for so long, that is not the right thing to do. You're in the highest.
Well, like, how are you gonna get away with that? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, 1000%. It's you're in the UFC, the biggest and highest organization that you can go, and you bite somebody. It's dirty, and you got to go. Sorry, brother.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, but again, it is something memorable. So that's the thing about it is he got the bite of the night bonus,
Yeah.
right? Is a hilarious thing. Which Ghost he says that's his maniacal moment. The bite of the night bonus. Not only is it outright silly and nonsensical, but it's also insulting and tone deaf to dudes like Troy Ogden, who fought on the same card and was essentially left on red by Dana about getting any compensation for his win bonus after getting jobbed in that motive fight by the ref. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, spitting facts.
Leave it at that.
Yeah.
It's not the bite itself, but to be clear about the audacity to give the person being bit. It was kind of weird. I mean, I don't think it is completely nonsensical to give somebody who got fouled that badly a little extra something, but the same price of an actual performance bonus is kind of insane.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so it's supposed to be 25, and then he goes and gets a tattoo, gets the full 50,000,
Yeah,
which is also like, bro, you're gonna get a tattoo on a fucking bite mark when it's
that
still
was
open, like
brutal.
still,
Yeah, not
yeah.
smart.
Ooh, not good, not good. But yeah, it was just. And what's crazy is I'm gonna guess 98% of people had no idea who the fuck Andre Lima is, and
Yeah.
now he's like, now everybody's gonna know who he is next time he fights.
Yeah, exactly. He's the bite guy. So,
Yeah.
man, it is ridiculous. And that was like what? I got it right here. That was the second fight of the night. So it's so funny. I feel like with these Apex cards specifically, a lot of the craziest shit happens like in the first three fights. Have you noticed this? Like it'll feel like they get the ridiculousness out of the way. But
Yeah, yeah. Kick off the
um,
card with like something to talk about.
yeah, no kidding.
Except for that first fight between McMarkin and Mahomes, man. Oh man.
Oh boy, I missed that one. Sounds like
Yeah, you no, you didn't miss anything.
okay. Oh man. Well, I got some other maniacal moments I want to mention, Alex, but any you want to throw in there? I know there's not much for this card specifically.
I mean, not really. I'm gonna say Peyton Manning, Peyton Manning, Peyton Talbot for the underrated.
Okay, we'll save him. Yes, good one
Yeah.
there. But yeah, in terms of outside the UFC, there was action this week, you guys. We had two champs doing their things. So I of course got to give love to Sakizawa, the greatest atomweight on the planet right now, one of the best fighters in the world. Gets it done once again, defeating Siyun Park to capture the Deep Jewels atomweight title. She's just collecting all the belts, staying undefeated, submitting everybody. Another fantastic performance from her. The full fight is on YouTube now. If you guys missed it, go check it out on Deep Jules' channel. Sekizawa, I think legitimately she is just not going to lose the atomweight at this point. Like for her talent level at her age and how quickly she's gotten to this point, she just seriously looks unbeatable. Unless you're like Siwoo Park, I would love to see that trilogy. Has put up the best fight along with Hamasaki, but Hamasaki on the back end of 40 now, and who knows if she'll come back. Sekizawa is just rolling. It is kind of a travesty that she's not getting utilized as the face of the division for a UFC division or something like that, or PFL, or these people we've told you have the perfect person to launch. Just there's a star just asking for you, and of course at the moment contractual obligations, but if you can do anything in your power to take her away when the opening is there, it would be a brilliant move. But for now, she's just racking up, dominating the scene over in Japan, which nothing wrong with that. But over in Ryzen, though, Landmark 9, we did have Satoshi DeSouza. He did the damn thing. I mean, this guy's got the jits, but there he goes out and starches Kita Nakamura in under 2 minutes, Alex. I mean, what the hell? Head kicks Kita, who we were talking about. I did the live watch along with Pat that night, and Kita Nakamura has only been before this only finished twice, Alex. One submission, one knockout. The guy's got like 40 fights, UFC veteran. So for the jiu-jitsu guy to go out there and starch him like that, Satoshi showing some Do Bronx type of evolution in his game. I mean, guy's always been a killer, but I did not expect him to finish it with strikes. So that was a big, impressive win over the veteran there, and with the speed, everything. So got to give him some love. One of the best lightweights out there too. So a lot of the fun action was not in the UFC for me, and I have some more to highlight in the underrated portion here. But before we do move along, we got some comments about UFC Vegas 89, if you can believe it. So,
Right.
Rio says, I'm pretty proud of the read I had on Amanda Hebos last week. Now I might not have Dan Tom's experience in analysis or ghost level detail where he can work with a UFC champion, but I was right in saying that Hebos has bad striking defense and her only takedown is a head and arm that gives up back and bottom position. I mean, to be fair, Rio and Alex, I'll get your thoughts on this. Hebos, I think it was, and she went for this a couple times, but the second or first round, she hit that beautiful, perfect timing on one of those trip takedowns, where she gets the leg underneath, got Rose down. Problem was she just couldn't hold her there. So got a little bit too comfortable on her back as well in the second round, but found some success with the head and arm as well. But I wouldn't say that was her only move. She just timed the kind of double leg trip there poorly. After that first one was perfect, and then I think the fact that Rose was getting up and so easily and well was probably deterring too. But yeah, it was I just think a very veteran performance from Rose. Like, here's the thing. She is very clearly not the same. And I don't think she'll be champ at flyweight, and again, this fight was a strawweight fight at flyweight, essentially. I like the Barber matchup next, as she kind of mentioned. Yeah, I don't know. What did you take away from that one?
Yeah, I mean, it was just two strawweights fighting at flyweight. Yeah, it was. It was kind of what I expected, to be honest. I did predict Rose to knock Amanda out.
Yeah,
but she didn't. And I agree with you, man. Like, I just don't know what Rose's ceiling is at flyweight. I don't think she becomes champion. Like, would you pick her against Grasso or Shevchenko?
No way. No
Like,
way.
I think I might even pick Macy Barber over her just because of the size. Like,
Yeah.
I just feel like she has so much more opportunity down at strawweight. But but then again, like, who am I to say go back down to strawweight when
Right.
obviously cutting the weight is doing damage to you mentally and physically, and you did what you did down at strawweight. Like,
yeah, just one. Like, yeah, all these factors.
also, yeah, she's already left her mark on the strawweight division, right? So, like, it makes sense, to finish her career not cutting weight. Fuck it, like,
Yeah.
it is what it is. I just, the thing I hate is when fighters ask for a rematch right after you lose. Like, bro, the UFC rarely books rematches that aren't title fights, right? Like,
Yeah.
or like if it's not a controversial, like a Ankalaev versus Kutalaba. Like, if you lose decision, you're not gonna get an automatic rematch, bro. Like, it's like stop doing it. Just stop doing it. You're not gonna get that Manon fight back. Like, just move past it.
Yeah, definitely not too soon. So we'll see how that plays out. We'll get to it, man. But Jin here says, what do you think the cost of these bad Apex cards are? The ESPN deal is oversaturating the schedule, that when we do need stat cards, we can't get them since UFC is using up all the fighters. Dan Thomas said in the past, pizza is great food to have, but every week is unhealthy. Having UFC cards every week seems to be unhealthy for the fighters and everyone involved. I don't know if it's unhealthy for the fighters in terms of almost any definition of that word, unless they're like fighting, back-to-back weeks, which they are not. But yeah, no, this has been no secret. We've talked about this plenty of times since things really ramped up a couple of years ago, Jin. But the thing that made kind of the UFC so much more special was the lack of events and, fondness. What is it? Absence making the heart grow fonder, where it wasn't every single week. And especially just because of that, like you said, yeah, oversaturating, the quality dips naturally because of not everybody's going to be on the same level necessarily. And I mean, just now it's even worse though, because the feel of these events is not nearly the same as, when you go to these big arena shows. So, I mean, in terms of the cost here, there's no bad cost other than visually for the fans, but for the UFC, they're doing better than ever. We've seen their numbers are only increasing. So there's no real cost other than pissing off the fans and the hardcores who are going to watch anyway because they just do. So yeah, I don't think I would really say there's a cost because it doesn't matter for them. The machine is established. They are only going up. It just sucks for us who have been around for a long time and we love to watch good fights on a consistent basis or at least twice a month or something like that. Go back 10 years ago, again, 2013, I think probably the best year of my fandom. It was just a very, very fun year around that time. I just don't have that same excitement level anywhere near close anymore. And I think it can be attributed to some of these things for sure. But that's just where we're at, right, Alex? Like, I don't know, is anything to add?
No, I mean, when you have 700 fighters on the roster and you have to put on 43 events, this is what we get. It is.
Yeah.
To be honest, like I don't mind events every single weekend. Like I don't like. I'm a hardcore fucking degenerate MMA fan, bro. Like I watch. Bro, I watch
let
LFAs
me
on
be
Fridays.
clear too. Like I don't mind either, but I'm not excited for them all. Let's put it that way.
It's the I've said this a million times. Apex is 7 minutes from my house. It's so easy. But like if the events were in front of crowds, I think it would really get people to stop bitching about the Apex, and I think it would really add to them. But it is what it is, and we can't do anything, and we're not going to do anything until the UFC changes. So let's move on.
Yeah, I mean, it would be really cool if, like, I don't know, if they made an extension to the Apex or something where they made like an actual arena out of it. Something similar to like the Mandalay or one of the old school kind of places they went to that had solid capacities on a regular basis. That would be sick.
I can say once we get past June, it looks like there's only going to be 7 or 8 Apex is after June, which means there are going to be a lot of on the road shows, which hopefully they announce pretty soon.
Yeah, I know. I saw you lay out your little skidooly in the Discord the other day. So. Yeah, that was looking pretty interesting there, but I didn't see any Portland or Seattle, so I was upset about that.
Dude, that's what I would do. I've never been to Seattle. I want to go to Seattle so bad. I would love the UFC to go to Seattle, but I think they're barred by the last time we went to Seattle. They're like, it doesn't sell well or something. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have much more optimism for them making it there than Portland for sure. I think we're pretty in trouble here, but Seattle is an awesome city, and I'll take any chance I get to go there for sure. But yeah, James says, I think it's fair to say Whaley versus Rose too. Their careers have gone in different directions. Whaley has only gotten better while Rose has degraded quite a bit. Yes. When I said that in the Reddit community, their only response to me was Rose has 2 wins already, not knowing actually proves my point. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I agree, though, with the initial part there. Rain says, no clever punt today. I find it very strange that Rose fans online keep saying that Whaley is ducking her when Rose stands. And I just don't listen to these people, Rain. You guys, over the years, I tell you all the time, ignore the kind of trolly nonsense that works you up. They do that on purpose. But okay, let me sift through here before we move on to the underrated moment. Pat is here, says, I mean, Peyton Manning is in the Ghostbusters commercial. Was not expected. I haven't seen this. But I'll take your word for it. Real quick, Cornelius Graythorn, great name. Can a maniacal moment be Jamie Varner being extremely not smart, talking down on Laura Sanko, who is a good commentator? That is also one of the maniacal moments for sure.
Who gives a fuck about Jamie Varner? When was the last time you heard about Jamie Varner, bro? Like,
since he got knocked out against Abel Trujillo in like 2012.
Yeah, who gives a fuck what he thinks, dude? Come on.
Yeah, he's a very notorious, I don't want to say sexist or woman hater, but specifically in MMA, he has said a lot of negative things about fighters in general. And I specifically remember I tried to find the tweets, but he might have deleted them or something. But he was talking shit about Whaley for you Whaley fans in her Torres when he talked shit big time on that fight when it happened. I remember specifically because it came across my timeline for whatever reason. And there's just been a lot of stuff like that for him. But yeah, all right, let's move on to the underrated moment of the week. Alex already teased with one, so let's talk about it a little bit. Give some love to P. Talbs, as he definitely was very impressive.
1000%. I have to give him props because I was a doubter before this week. I thought Simon was going to beat
We
him.
both were,
Yeah, and when I recommended the story for you when he was like under there's a bunch of frauds in the UFC, a bunch of undefeated frauds. I was like, well, I kind of think you are, bro. Yeah, like I kind of think you're a fraud. And boy, oh boy, man, he is he's a special talent, man. He big brothered Cameron Simon, and it was not close whatsoever. He beat the fuck out of him. Let's just be honest. Like it was it was bad. And man, he's fun to watch, and it's going to be very interesting to see his career kind of go. Of course, people are saying he's a future champion, and after 2 fights
That's
in the
way
UFC,
insane. That's completely overblown. You know what division he's in, right?
Yeah, 1000%. Like, how about let's say that he's like a future top 10 guy before you start saying champion, right? Like,
yeah.
I still want to see him fight a grappler just to see where that's at, right? Like Nigiri took him down.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, like Cameron Simon's a flyweight. Like it looked like
small guy.
it looked kind of weird in the octagon. But yeah, that's where I want to see him fight next. I mean, maybe put him against another striker in front of a crowd to kind of get him going. But then like I really want to see him fight like a pretty, I don't know, like just a grappler just to see where his wrestling's at, right? But yeah, it was a fantastic performance, and I think I'm on the Payne Talbot train now.
Yeah, no, I agree. He looked fantastic there. And it's hard to kind of gauge and assess how far someone can go in a division like this, like the champion claims are just so silly, absurd. Not even going to really pay attention to those. But yeah, I mean, he's shown with that performance that he's got a whole lot of potential. And again, certain matchups will tell us a lot about him. So I kind of like the direction that you're thinking there for him and his next step. I don't know who I'd say specifically next. Like there's so many types of options, and to what kind of level you want to put him at. Is there someone in mind that you'd think?
I actually had quite a bit
Couple.
of yeah, hold on, let me find these rankings that I have. Talk for a little bit. So
Talking for a little bit. Yeah, Peyton Talbot. He looked good. I don't know. He said he wants to fight Dominic Cruz. That's not happening next, and it wouldn't be a good idea, but
no, it isn't. So I mean, for a fun matchup, I said, him versus Marcus McGee would be very fun.
Ooh, wow.
Like that's a good one. I like to see him fight like maybe like I mean, if you really want to test him, throw him in there with like Javid Basharat. Like that's like a really,
those are both such good fights. Jesus.
like that one's good. You can do let's see, you could do like a Hani Barcelos. You could do you could do a Cody Stamen.
Right.
Montel Jackson's a really good one. I mean, and if I don't want to see him fight someone in the top 15 right now, because then you get to the Edmund Shabazian kind of thing where you push him and see what happens, right? But in a couple fights, maybe like first like a Chris Gutierrez, but like that's a fight where I think Chris Gutierrez he's levels, right? Like
yeah.
But so I would say like Cody Stamen, Javid Basharat, or Marcus McGee are my three fights.
I mean, it again shows you how good the division is when you list off all those, and I'm like, oh man, that one's great, right? that one's great. Woo, I love all of those. I highly doubt we'll get the McGee one next, because that's kind of what we just did. Like, I think McGee's obviously higher up than Simon, but these two prospects with a good amount of potential and are kind of killing it right now. I don't think they'll make that one. Again, it's probably the most fun one out of those you listed. I think would be serious fireworks. The Stamen one, in terms of the test for the style, I think that's probably that's good too. But again,
But
some
also,
people,
like, sorry for
yeah,
interrupting you, because I did get some pushback on the Marcus McGee versus Peyton Talbot, but like Marcus is 33 years old, like it's now or never. So like just throw him,
true.
like throw him in there, see if he can beat this young kid, like that's kind of my thinking about it, because people were like, just wait until they're both ranked. Well, like if they're both ranked, like it could be 2 years
It
before
could
they're
take a
ranked,
while, yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? So just kind of throw them in there and see what's up.
Yeah, that's true. Again, I won't be mad if that happens. I don't know if I could see the UFC doing that. So we will see how that goes. And you mentioned Edmund there, so quick shout out to him. He definitely pretty underrated performance this past weekend as well. Looked like the same old Edmund story, and then out of nowhere, first round comeback of sorts. So that was pretty impressive there. Ghost says my underrated moment has to be Luis versus Padilla. Some cool techers in that fight that the internet that will interest 12 people in the analyst community. Moment, not movement. My apologies. Padilla, fantastic too. And Zalal looking great against Billy Q is another moment I'd like to highlight. That was actually good. Yeah, he kind of cut through Billy Q. That was I was wrong on that one. You called it last week.
Yeah, man. This is Zalal good. He looked good, man. He looked good. He called himself like he's Zalal 2.0, and it's hard to argue, man. He looked very good, and you know, um, it's it's very hard to come back to the UFC once you're released, right? Like there's a whole bunch of fighters that are going to be released in the next week or have already been released that will
Yeah.
never get back to the UFC. And he did it right. He went out in the regional scene, starched some people. What you're supposed to do, like if you get cut and you go back to the regional scene, go out there and make it known that you're too good to be on the regional scene, right? Like
Yes.
that's what you're supposed to do. That's what he did, and he's back in the UFC.
Yeah, I always liked Yusuf too when he was in his prior stint and was kind of like, oh man, we're getting rid of him. And then, yeah,
Yeah.
here we are now. So a very
Cut
nice
him
kind
at,
of,
I think he was like 25 years old when you cut him. Like,
I know. It was like, damn, I was looking forward to seeing how things played out. And thankfully, we've come back around. So, yes, good shout to Yusuf. Yusuf Zalal and tongue tied there a bit. But all right, for my underrated moment specifically, though, I do got to go outside the UFC again as we go back to Deep Jewels 44. I mean, Alex, how is this not maybe the number one moment? I know you know where I'm going because you tweeted it last night. So you guys, if you haven't seen this, go to Alex's Twitter right now. But Yoon Bi Cho, the
dude.
microweight over in Deep Jewels 44, making her microweight debut, 97 pounds. Absolutely starches her poor opponent. I'm forgetting her name off the top of my head, but in about 56 seconds or so, one of the nastiest knockouts of the year. Her first win. She was 0-5 before this fight. Goes out there, might have something at this weight class, but man, what do you think about that?
Starches her, bro. Like, I was like, holy fuck. Like, how can someone that weighs 97 pounds do that, dude? Like, what is this?
Oh, it was a deading, and we got a little bit of crow cop ankle action, like
Man.
folding. It was nasty, and you could see
Yeah.
the emotion come out of her right after, rightfully so. But
Yeah.
big props to Libby. Shouts to her. That was that was nasty. We'll remember that one for a while. And it's just, yeah, it's still crazy that it happened in that weight class, which I've never seen before. So I think already that's the all-time best. Of course, the division's kind of fictional, like women's lightweight, but congrats to her. That was good stuff. And then also got this question here from Gunther, who says I saw Rising Landmark 9. Your opinion on the legendary Buakaw KOing the Royd Head or supposed Royd Head. No, Kimura did test positive last year, so not alleged or supposed. But yes, got to give shout outs to Buakaw because that was fucking epic shit, Alex. If you did not see that fight, which I'm assuming you did not, it was like, man, Pat and I were watching it together, and fight starts out. Kimura, clear size advantage, right? The guy's like a normal welterweight. Buakaw fights around, lightweight, featherweight-ish normally. Muay Thai legend, though. He's had countless fights, right? Like 300 on record. There's more because he's a Muay Thai god. Kimura comes out like the first minute, just throwing punches with every single fiber of his power in them, landing. Buakaw looks like he's getting fucked up, but I'm kind of like, I don't know. This might be what he wants because he's seen it all. He's felt everything in there. Like that experience level is different, man. So he's in bad trouble. It looks like the first round. Comes back towards the end, starts ripping the body beautifully. And then in the second round, finishes him like it's nothing. It was just fucking chef's kiss, veteran performance, like showing the new kid who needs some juice what is up. It was insane. If you guys can find a way to watch that one. Well, Ryzen Stream Pass, actually, you should be able to watch it. That is out yesterday. Ridiculous stuff. Buakaw, walking bona fide legend, phenomenal. And then I also want to give a shout out to Yuya, who fought right before him, defeating Messiah Jockey. Masterclass of a performance. His left hand was a magnet to Jockey's face. So some real good kickboxing.
What do you think of what do you think of the PFL-Bellator card?
It was awful. It was worse than the Vegas 89 one. I thought it was so, oh man, it was boring. I told Pat this on Saturday or Friday, whenever that was. I fell asleep during Edwards and and Jeffrey. I literally fell asleep.
Yeah.
That was rough. I thought Pitbull is very clearly slowing down now. Still has the, Pitbull instinct in him to pull off a fantastic finish. That was great there at the end of the Kennedy fight, but I didn't think he looked great up until that point. Like he looks very beatable now. And then Corey Anderson's fight. I made it to about the middle of the fourth round, and I was like, I needed to pick up some new contacts before the store closed, before the eye doctor closed. So I was like, I'm fucking going to get these. I'm not waiting. I see where this is going. Congrats, Corey. Yeah. It was raw. It was not a fun time. It was not good. The Gallagher fight wasn't very fun either. Like we've seen his ceiling, I think, too, at this point. It was rough. It was a letdown. I expected much more kind of out of that card.
Yeah, Bellator again at Bellator. And then they did what the PFL does, and they do a fucking 15 to 20 minute preview show before the prelims. When we all know the Bellator prelims, they go right. So
yeah,
I hopefully that was just like an intro to HBO Max, like there was their first show, so maybe they were trying to do like trying to sell people or whatever. But yeah, wasn't good.
Like even the presentation was like, it was all really kind of watered down.
Honestly, like I fucking don't like when they bring like they were asking AJ McKee his thoughts on the fight. Like who fucking cares? Who cares, dude? I don't care about his
unless
thoughts.
It like very directly relates to him, which that didn't anymore.
No, it's no, not at all. Like unless Pitbull is fighting McKee next, don't care.
Yes, exactly.
And I thought Leah McCourt was pretty awful.
At first I jumped in and I didn't like see that it was her. I was like, who is this?
It wasn't. She's not good. She's not good. She's not a good commentator, which, I props for trying to give her a,
I remember she would do like the desk stuff, which she was fine at, but commentary, that was maybe first time.
No.
So and we know why she was on because of where they were, but
so PFL-Bellator, kind of trips and falls on their
It was rough. It was rough. Synchro says PFL-Bellator being back. Can we call a segment where bad things happen? That's so that's not a bad idea, actually.
That's funny.
Oh man. Yeah, James says, I saw that microweight win. She was 0-5 before that fight. What a great way to get your first. I mean, yeah, Alex, like that's story-wise, starting 0-5, and then that's your first win. That's an all-timer, man.
Honestly,
that's as good as you could ever ask for to finally, persevere and then knock a bitch out like that. Jesus.
Dude, bad too. Bad.
It was insane. But all right, with that in mind, you guys, let's move on to this weekend, as we do have some important fights and kind of some sneaky ones that I'm actually really looking forward to. I think just really like just this card being on the road gets me more excited than if it was, I just that feel. I like the anticipation of, some energy. I'm an energy guy.
Yes, but this is an Apex card on the road.
Yes,
Come on. Let's be honest.
it definitely is. But all right, let's talk about this week. Mania mainline, get our injections, what we are looking forward to the most. Alex, why don't you kick us off?
Man, there's not much, bro. Vicente Luque Joaquin Buckley is probably the one I'm looking forward to the most. Just it's fun. Obviously, the main event, it's a clear number one contender fight, which there's a lot of stakes in it, and it's probably obviously the most important fight on the card. But I think just fun wise, I'm looking forward to Luque versus Buckley. Chitty going back down to welterweight is very interesting. He ruined his voice cutting all that weight, so him going back down. Plus, I think he's on a 3-fight losing streak, so this is for his job going back down. It's just not. I don't know if it's the smartest decision, but I mean, he probably had no choice. Other than that, I mean, it's just a bunch of fights that I'll be looking. I'll be watching.
That might be my favorite way you've described the card before. That might be clip worthy. I'm going to save that. I mean, but this is the first time Herbert Burns has fought since getting carried out, right?
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of random tidbits that I'm gonna take from this card. Like there's a bunch of little things, but like, I'm not really looking forward to Julio.
That you're gonna take because I saw you already had this one done, didn't you?
No, I haven't.
Was
no,
it last week?
Yeah, okay. Last week.
Last week you had done real early. I was like, damn, it must not be that not much.
Yeah.
Well, that happens sometimes, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, for me, like the co-main event, Luque and Buckley, that interests me more just from like, I think there's a good chance we're going to get a Luque highlight reel kind of finish out of it. Ever since the Impa knockout, the Buckley kind of hype and train died off pretty quick, pretty devastatingly, I would say. And I just think that's kind of a weird matchup and made to be a rebound for Luque because, again, he's still a top guy comparatively. So I don't know. In terms of an actual fight, that one doesn't do it so much for me. So this is the Mania mainline. This is our personal picks. So for me, I'm really looking forward to Verna versus Lupe Godinez. That's my pick here. I love Verna. I'm a Verna stan. One of the nicest human beings on the planet. And the Damian Maya of the female fighters, really. She is phenomenal. Been a while since her last fight and was supposed to take on Tatiana Suarez. Had the injury, which kind of delayed her and put her back here. Lupe trying to really make a break and take the spot, obviously, and make her climb after this momentum and winning streak that she's on now, put herself in contention, which probably still going to need maybe one or two after this, depending on, how she would get it done. But Verna is just a tough matchup for anybody, specifically when it comes to the grappling and overcoming and dealing with that. If you can, of course, your success level is a pretty good chance of happening because her striking is always primarily been there to set up her grappling and takedowns. So seeing how Lupe kind of deals with fending that off will be very interesting. That's kind of the story of every Verna Jandiroba fight because she's that damn good at what she does. So yeah, I mean, that's really the only one that I'm like, ooh, I don't want to miss that. So, what do we got here for our comments? Karos is here, and this is unrelated, but since it happened earlier, what's Joe Rogan's stream? Did you see that clip already, Alex?
No. What
you
is
haven't
it?
seen it?
No. What is it?
Wow. All right. I love that you threw that in here, Karos, but and good to see you. So Dana White was on a podcast with I don't know who she was, but she thought he was Joe Rogan. And so at the end, the last question she asks him, she's like, what's Joe Rogan's dream? And he's like, Joe Rogan's dream? he's like, I don't know. She says something again, and he's like, "Well, you thought I was Joe Rogan?" And she's like, "No, no." It's a super awkward thing.
Wait, so she did the entire interview thinking he was Joe Rogan?
I I think so. I didn't watch the whole thing, but it's like
Fuck.
super silly.
Ooh, damn.
Yeah, a little tough, a little tough. And then Howie Mandel comes in and saves it at the end of the day. And he's just like, "Oh, she says the same thing about like making a bald joke." And I'm
So
like,
then, so then Joe Rogan's dream is to probably have a dinner with apes. I'm gonna guess, like just like a fucking tea time with apes, maybe like or have a sit down, nice steak dinner with some monkeys.
yeah, something like that, which we'll talk about monkeys here soon enough. But Ghost says, inside joke for Drake, did Alex mean tidbits or titbits? He meant tid. He meant tid. Which I actually think might mean the same thing, Ghost. But yeah, that is a good inside joke.
Could be.
And for the main line, there's not a lot going on in combat this week. Even one card is bad. Have you ever seen a card where the heaviest fight is a women's fight at 165? Is that what's happening in one? I have not looked at this card. That is, I mean, maybe that's probably got to be one of the few up there. I mean, what came right to mind was like the throwback kickoff of female fighters in MMA, the remix tournament, which was open weight. So I don't know if you would count that necessarily, but if that's what's happening, Ghost, that is very bizarre. I feel like there's no way one is holding a welterweight female fight of any sport, but yeah. All right, since it is the main line, we got to talk about the main event though for UFC Atlantic City, Alex. Which really, I mean, I should mention that there too because I try to not do the main event for this segment because of the fact we talk about it anyways. But yeah, I mean, undeniably, that's the fight I'm easily most looking forward to. I love this fight. I love Erin Blanchfield. Been on the train since she got involved in MMA. So what a perfect week and weekend, you guys. For those who've been following me, my biggest predictions, my best predictions as somebody in this sport has been the career paths of Sakizawa and Erin Blanchfield. And they're going back to back here to the top. So yeah, Alex, our Mania MMA question, sound and pound question today is, does a win at UFC Atlantic City secure a title shot for Blanchfield or Furo? But let's just talk about the fight in general. I think pretty safe to assume that, just depending on if they want to wait, how long they want to wait to be inactive afterward for the trilogy fight. But overall, thoughts on everything. Give me what you're feeling for this fight.
Yeah, so to back up to that, I mean, Shevchenko and Grouse are going to fight in September, right?
Yeah.
So that means the winner of this main event won't be fighting until December at the earliest.
Probably
2025,
with either
right?
of them.
Yeah, 2025. So unless they do an interim title, maybe, winner of this versus the winner of Rose versus Macy Barber, something like, just throwing it out there, something like that. Unless they do an interim title, winner of this fight's gonna be staying out a long time, which fucking sucks. But I do think winner of this fight's gonna get the title shot. As for who I'm picking, I've seen a lot of people, kind of say that Blanchfield's takedowns have not been as prevalent, and like she's, I think only landed like two takedowns in her last couple fights.
That's all she needed, though, man.
Yes, yeah, 1,000%. Yeah, 1,000%. So, I mean, I think it's Erin Blanchfield. I just don't see a way for Manon to beat Erin Blanchfield unless she just kind of, has perfect takedown defense and just kind of outpoints Blanchfield on the feet, right? That's the only path to victory I see, and I just don't think. I think Erin's too smart of a fighter, too good of a fighter to get outpointed at range, So, and the thing is like, I really want to see how Erin's striking is developing, because once she gets her striking down, she is going to be a motherfucker to beat.
Yeah. Yes. And she already is. But more so. And the striking has been coming along. So yeah, I'm curious to see it, because it's been progressing fight by fight. We saw the Andrade one, which I think was a good glimpse into, she took some shots early, but managed to kind of recovered there. And then Tyler Santos, which a level up in terms of, the technical aspects. And now here again with Manon, more of the same, and plus the 5 rounds. I think that is a big factor too, which I think I would say favors her, Alex. Again, because kind of similar to looking at Dracus versus Strickland, or what was it? Delidze's fight, even though he didn't pull that one off. This is a fight, I think, where Blanchfield is the more dangerous of the two and in more areas, right? Like, of course, Furo, I think, could put her away with strikes. That is a possibility. But Blanchfield, with her grappling and submission ability, more dangerous and likely than that possibility. So it's more time for that Furo is going to have to avoid getting taken down and submitted, right? So I think both their cardio is going to be on point. Would you agree that Erin kind of has the edge with the rounds because of that? I think it favors her slightly just because of that danger factor.
Well, I just looked at it. Manon's the only one that's gone 5-minute rounds. So she's gone 25 minutes before. Erin hasn't. I don't know. That's the question we're gonna have to see. Because neither of us really know. We're just guessing at this point.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, you would think with Erin's style and the wrestling and grinding, she'd probably have better cardio. But I mean, Manon, she's gone 25 minutes, and I don't know the answer to this question.
yes, but it might not even make it that far either, right? Like, I don't remember if the Andrade fight ended up still being 5 rounds or not. If that was the thing they had to even consider. Obviously, didn't go that far, but yeah, that is a big question mark. But again, I really don't think it'll make it that far. Spoiler alert, this whole time, I'm not going away from cold-blooded at this point. So I do think she'll get the job done. I have full faith in her that she's still going to be champ one day, and no reason not to believe that yet. So in this fight, I think that I think it'll look probably pretty similar to the Andrade fight, maybe a little bit of a combination with the Santos fight. But either way, I think she'll lock something up 3rd round or earlier. I mean, she's just one of those fighters where once she gets a hold of you, it's just immediately trouble. And she's got fantastic killer instinct, cold-blooded for a reason, is able to transition from position to position. And I think Furo's strength will be maybe a big factor that can help her last a little bit longer if she avoids something early on. But just in the end, again, it's a lot of time to have to avoid one of those bad spots. And I think that Erin Striking has also gotten good enough to be able to hang and compete with Furo and not get completely pieced apart and look like a fish out of water there. As a interesting point, though, from Jin, who says, does Erin really need to learn how to strike, though? There are technical strikers at 125, but there aren't any hard hitters that will punish her for mistakes. She could probably Rousey her way to the top. I mean, that's probably, I think there's some truth to that to an extent, but of course, it does not hurt to be more dangerous with integrating the striking, and she's already just kind of naturally been improving there anyway. And I think she does pack some decent power, as we kind of saw again in her last 2 fights. But yeah, in the end, I think I'm going to say round 2. She's really kind of risen to in these moments, Alex. You think about the big spots, the meatball fight, Andrade, and, Santos wasn't the same. That wasn't the main event or anything. But those 2 fights were her biggest fights on paper. And then this one, another main event, home game. She has risen to these occasions big time. So I don't see any reason that won't happen again. So I'm going to go round 2 submission on Furo. I like Furo a lot as well, but I've been on that Blanchfield train since day one, baby.
I've been on that train with you, brother. But I'm going to go Erin Blanchfield via split decision.
Ooh, okay. All right. Exciting stuff. But yeah, I cannot wait for that fight. It's a bummer about kind of the timing of the division and stuff and where things can go from there, but I'm glad we're still getting to see it, and that it's 5 rounds. That's a big fun factor as well. So, all right, with that in mind, good amount of time we spent.
How long does Erin have to become the youngest female champion?
I think she's running out of time. I don't think she's going to make it at this point. Because of the delay, unfortunately. But Rose won at 25. Her birthday is in May. She's not making it. It's not happening. Well, you'd have to get down to like month by month. Not specifically. I'd have to look back at when Rose won and like by the month, but even then, it's probably not going to cut out to early 2025-ish. So that fucking sucks, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
But not her fault. So that's just how it goes, unfortunately. Second, still a good spot.
Yeah.
But all right, let's take a trip on now over to Spotlightville. Before we talk about some movies again, Alex, who are we highlighting this week?
Yeah, going to LFA 180 co-main event. Richie Miranda, El Machete. Yeah, he's one to watch, man. He has one almost 100 almost a 100% finish rate. Only has one decision. He's a finisher. His only loss was a very controversial split decision that I believe he won. And he's just fun to watch, man. He's a finisher, fun to watch, and he's Mexican. So I think with a win on Friday, there's a good chance we can see him on the Contender Series.
All right, there you go. Take a look at your LFA this weekend, you guys. Alex always delivering goods from those shows. And then for me, for the ladies, I think this is a pretty clear one this week too. I mean, we just had so many great options last week and keeping them going here. But for me, it's Melissa Gatto, who I've been pretty high on since really she debuted in the UFC, because her career's been just very fascinating, really, Alex. If you remember, like, she came into the UFC after a 4-year layoff, submitting Carol Hosa, who, a bantamweight contender now, Melissa Gatto, flyweight, known primarily for her grappling and submission abilities before getting to the UFC, has that gap, comes in, looks entirely different, has this fantastic striking, puts away Victoria Leonardo and Sajara Eubanks, which was a big surprise to me at that time. And then, kind of gets stifled by Tracy Cortez and Ariane Lipsky, who resurgent there.
Which were both close fights, too.
Yes, very close fights. Could have gone either way. The problem was she just got a little too comfortable on her back, right? So that's something I hope that she has worked on, and I'm looking forward to seeing how she deals with here against Dudakova, which I think she should be able to flourish. And just overall, talent-wise and skill set-wise, she has a lot of advantages in this matchup. But Melissa Gatto still also only 27. For her to have a 4-year gap in her career is kind of crazy, for like, missing that and still being this young. So she still has a whole lot of potential from what we've seen, and is, dangerous in a lot of areas. So I always like watching her fight. And it's been a while since that last fight, too, July of last year. So yeah, she's the one to watch for me. Still somebody to keep an eye out for in the flyweight division. And back against the wall to an extent. I mean, could get cut with a loss. You never know with the UFC, really, depending on certain fighters, but that's a spot where she's going to be highly motivated. So look out for Melissa Gatto. And I know the Joe Gatto references will be coming in here any moment now, because that was an old Impractical Jokers meme. So yeah, there we go for Spotlightville. As Alvin, he shows up right on time. I love it. Movie Club is my favorite part of this show. The passion and depth to talk about movies always makes me very happy. Mine as well, Alvin. I love MMA and all, but especially during this road to 300, this is a great time for Movie Club, my man. So we got a fun one this week as we enter the Drelex Movie Club. Spoilers for everybody if you haven't seen these, but since we're off of Oscar season, that's all right. These are some older ones, which you should be able to have seen already, or you've had plenty of time. But there it is, James Kendrick. The Joe Gatto meme was my bit. WWE Mania, yes, good stuff there. But all right, so this week, Alex gave me Rise of the Planet of the Apes from 2011, and I gave him Belle from 2021. Both very good films and unique in their own ways. But let's start off with the monkeys. We already teased them earlier, so let me pull up our share screen of old Caesar here. Dun, dun, dun. But Alex, I will tell you this though, man. I watched this last night. We had an extra day, right? An extra day for the show this week, and I still was putting it off because I really didn't want to or have any interest in watching this movie. But I was like, hey, I'm committed. I'm dedicated to our show. Oh, we do. He gave it to me. It's got to be good enough, right? So I was really not looking forward to it, or just didn't have any interest. That's more of what it was. I just never really had any interest in the Planet of the Apes, that franchise. But I will say I was very pleasantly surprised by this. Like it was a very solid, very very clearly a setup movie, right? Because there's what is this a trilogy?
It's a trilogy.
Trilogy. So yeah,
Yeah,
very
and once you watch Dawn, the second Dawn's by far the best of the three. And once you watch that movie, you're gonna be like, holy shit! Like,
okay.
yeah,
So yeah, this was very clearly a setup movie, but it was still very, very fun and very interesting. Like I found myself not bored at any moment. It was paced like beautifully, an hour 45 runtime, I think. Like it was solid and it starts off very quickly, but again, not like overly done. The way that just the story flowed, it didn't give like too much in depth into my boy James Franco. I know it's probably controversial to say that nowadays. But once upon a time, my boy, I've always been a big James Franco fan. Not too much backstory into characters really, but this was more of establishing the Planet of the Apes, literally, and how we get there. So it wasn't really a problem for me in terms of specifics. Tyler Labine making a pleasant surprise right away. One of my favorite low key hidden gem comedy actors, which shameless shout out to Tucker and Dale versus Evil. If you've ever seen the hidden gem of all hidden gems, Alex. If not, we're going to have to do, I'm going to send you that one soon. But one of the greatest under the radar comedies of all time. He was in this as what was it, Franklin or whatever the scientist was who was handling all the monkeys. I will say John Lithgow and James Franco do not look related. That was terrible casting. I didn't like him as his dad at all. I mean, fine as a character in there, but I was like, this is not believable as them being related. That was a thing. And yeah, CGI heavy movies can like be a little bit hard for me to get into typically, but I didn't really think this one was that bad either, outside of like maybe the swinging scene, the time transition when it goes from like, I think Caesar was, he was really young to like 5 years old. I thought that kind of looked a little bit cheesy, but other than that, the CGI was pretty solid in this and not too distracting. Like that's really the thing, is if you can tell it looks really bad or how obvious it is, but really for the most part it wasn't too, didn't have any of that. Tom Felton, just the biggest fucking douche of of all time. Not of all time, but man, I hated him so much. And I like to the point where I wish he died in a more terrible way. You know, I wish they ripped him apart limb by limb or something. I was like, this guy is a fucker. And still, even to his very last breath, he's still being an asshole. Like there's no redeeming moment of him realizing he's a prick. So that was I'm glad he, got it in the end. But yeah, yeah. I will say too, like the monkeys, they seemed, or the apes, excuse me, chimpanzees, all of them, they seemed a little too durable at points. Maybe like jumping out of the windows and shit, I felt was maybe a little extreme. But hey, I don't know what exactly the chemical thing, if it can boost their strength or not, or just how durable I guess apes are in general, and how far they can fall from swinging from trees and whatnot. But that's just my own ignorance. Jacob surviving the helicopter crash was pretty dumb. I think that was a little ridiculous. He dies right after, and that was for dramatic effect and a movie theme, but he 100% would have died in that explosion. But yeah, overall, like this is a science experiment gone wrong franchise, right, Alex? And that's always a fun thing to play with, I think, and a unique one like this where it's turning into a takeover, right? I haven't seen the rest, but I'm assuming that's where things go just by the name of it. And the ending was pretty good. And like, again, I think it could have ended there and I would have been fine. Like I'm very curious to see what happens next. So it goes both ways. Like I think that would have been a perfectly fine ambiguous ending to a movie, even though it was very set up feel and like you could feel that and that. But I was like, all right, that was a good, enjoyable ride. I think that, there might have been there might have been more of a serious national red alert type of situation after the bridge. That was felt a little bit lacking there, but I thought the ending was still pretty fine. And I liked it. This was an incredibly comfortable and solid like 7 for me. Like, no, that's the perfect number for it. And probably one of the better like setup movies though, and I'll probably feel that way watching the rest of them. And it did its job, right? It got me very curious to see what does happen next. But it also at the same time, like I said, I would have been I'm fine if I never saw what happens next either. Like, it worked, I thought. So it was good. It was a pleasant surprise, I would say.
Sweet.
And Alvin says the visuals for Rise of Planet of the Apes was sensational given the time period it launched. Andy Serkis' performance was brilliant in my opinion. Yeah, 2011. It looked very good, and again, really not too many bad things to say about it. Just, comfortable 7 for me because of, I think, the story being what it was, and it makes you latch on to want more, right? So
I think I guarantee you, once you watch the second, the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, it's gonna be like, it's probably gonna be like a 9 for you, bro. Like
okay.
it's like that good.
All right, I am definitely excited for it now. So good job with the choice, because again, I didn't care for this at all, but now I'm very intrigued to see where we go. But all right, with that, we will transition over to a very different end of the spectrum in terms of theme and story. But Alex, I saw this movie. I saw Belle in theaters. I'm not a big anime guy. I'm really not. But something about when I saw the commercial and the trailer for this, you don't really even see commercials for anime movies. Like, this was in 2021 again, but I saw it and I was like, that looks fucking really interesting to me. So I went and saw it, and I loved it. And I'm really curious to hear what you thought about it.
Yeah, no, I do not like anime. It's not. Honestly, like, I don't even really like animated movies anymore. Like, I don't like
Yeah,
animated movies. Really don't like adult. Like, I don't like animated TV shows. Like, other
right.
than South Park, like, just not my. Could care less.
Yeah, I hear you.
Other than like Akira and like Spirit Away, Ghost of the Shell, like the all-time
The
classics.
big ones.
Don't care. I will say this is probably top 5, to be honest.
Mhm.
It was a great movie. The thing, so I'm gonna be kind of be all over it.
Let's do it.
It's a beautiful movie. It's
Yeah,
probably some of the best animation I've ever seen, to be honest with you. Like, it's
that's
like
what
that
really
up
caught
there
me.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't like, I liked the drawing animation more than the 3D animation.
Mhm.
Way more. I just, the 3D was just, I don't know, it's just you know.
Yeah.
And it was a take on Beauty and the Beast, and
1,000,000%.
which is,
It's like
which I
this is sorry to cut you off real
no,
quick,
no.
but it was for me, it's like a combo of Beauty and the Beast and The Matrix,
Yeah,
which I
1,000%.
I loved that.
No, 1,000%. And which is funny because, Beauty and the Beast is one of my all-time favorites. It's actually the first movie I saw in theaters.
Mhm.
And but it's funny enough, I don't think that storytelling in the movie worked. I felt like it was just kind of tacked on.
Yeah.
Really, just like, didn't care about it. Didn't care for it. Felt like it was like really shoehorned into the movie.
Mhm.
But other than that, man, like, it was just it's I really like the storytelling, and it's basically a movie about Discord, or a movie,
Yeah, right.
about 4chan. I really like that and then the main character. The music I love the music in the
Yeah.
movie. Big bonus points for that. You know, musicals or music in movies, it's very hit or miss
Give
for
or
me.
take, yeah.
I really could care less if there's like singing in the movie, but it was great, man. It was great. So overall, I really enjoyed it, and I just, yeah, will I go watch it again or seek it out? Probably not, because I just don't like anime. I don't like
Mhm.
animated stuff. I don't really like anime, but like, all time, it's for sure, it's got to be up there top 5 for me, to be honest with you. Like, behind Ghost in the Shell, behind
Mhm.
Akira, behind Spirit Away. I was thinking maybe my neighbor, probably up there too. So
Mhm.
yeah, top 5 though.
Yeah, no, it was just kind of a really fun one, I thought, when I saw it. And I will agree though about the Beauty and the Beast kind of element there, because I totally thought like it doesn't turn really into a love story, you know.
Yeah,
That's kind of the thing that throws you off. You have this expectation, you're like, oh, just kind of peters off at that part, you know, at the climax of that whole situation.
yeah, 1000%.
But yeah, I mean, I love the relatability aspect of it with kind of the social stuff and kind of all because there's a lot going on with just everything in this one. But yeah, it's definitely a unique film and visually very well done. The music, I think, again, like you said, some really high points there. As Alvin says, this was very different from the style most anime movies were done. Bell was amazing and sets the standard for animated movies in the future. The character development was really well done. Yeah, that was also a very high point. You see kind of a little bit, it's a coming of age movie too at the same time, right? You know, just in a very uniquely told way.
For sure.
But yeah, Bell was a good time. Bell was a good time. And, you know, he's got his dog named after it. No, I'm just kidding.
100%. Yeah, for sure.
That's perfect. But all right, on that note, you guys, we'll move on to this week, which we should have done this last week, but I told Alex we clearly have to do Roadhouse. So I'm sure a couple of you have seen it already.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm down to watch two movies, like because I was gonna watch Roadhouse. I was down to watch Roadhouse anyway. I kind of feel like we have to anyway. So yeah, if you want to double up, I'm totally down.
All right, so I got Dawn no matter what, though, right?
100%.
Okay, so that sounds good. Dawn and Roadhouse, and then I will also throw at you then. Man, I've had this list here since before the Oscars, right? So I got to look at which one I want to throw at you. So this, I don't think I'll give you this one right now, and I'm pretty sure you've seen it because I know you're a big Denzel guy, right? It's hard not to be a Denzel fan. You saw The Little Things, right? When that came out,
The little things.
with Jared Leto.
Oh yeah.
I feel like we might have even talked about it around then. So yeah,
dude, I totally forgot about that movie.
It is fairly forgettable, but it's interesting. It's an interesting one, and it lives up to its name for sure. But
wow. Holy shit, that was out of my memory. Holy,
whoa. Did you like it?
Yeah, I remember watching it because I like Jared, but I'm a big Rami Malek fan, so that's really the reason why I really wanted to watch it. Holy shit!
Whoa, funny. That was only same year as Bell, so that was 3 years ago.
Yeah, Jesus, and it came out on Max, which I think it was like one of the first HBO Max like exclusive movies.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, shit.
I always hit you with those, don't I? Like, where'd that come from?
Whoa, yeah, damn.
So, all right, let me give you one here. The Stanford Prison Experiment.
I've seen that.
Oh, damn. All right. I thought I might get you there.
Yeah.
Because I never hear anybody talk about that movie, but it
I saw that in theaters.
Wow. You like that one too?
Pretty intense. I did. Yeah. Yep.
That was solid stuff. Billy Crudup, I think, is pretty underrated.
Super
for actors. One of his better performances. All right. So here's a good throwback here. We're going back 21 years ago. Probably seen this one. Lost in Translation.
Oh yeah. Of course.
The classic. Just making sure.
Yeah, come on. ScarJo's making.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, and this one's a personal favorite. We'll go back to 2011, which we had last week with Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I Melt with You.
I Melt with You.
Tom Jane, Jeremy Piven, Rob Lowe.
Yeah, never seen that.
All right. There you go then. Man, quite a contrast. This is in line with kind of your your climax type of movie and those more stressful maybe ones. So.
Oh, joy.
Yes. But it gets you in the feels. All right, so there we go. We got our technically a triple header, I guess you could say, as we each have our two separates, and then Roadhouse, as a ghost here says, Roadhouse makes me super angry because it replaced Burn Notice while I was in the What do you mean? Did they like clear out the library? Or you can't stop watching it now? Either way, there you go. Looking forward to it. I've heard pretty decent things about Roadhouse, so I'm actually like...
I started, to be honest, watching a little bit of it, and it's one of the movies you watch while you're doing laundry.
Okay. All right. Well,
Fucking
it'll
washing
be
dishes.
fun to
Yeah.
rip apart if we have to. That's the
I,
fun
I
of
have a, I have a feeling though. Yeah.
All right. Well, that'll conclude this week's Drelex Movie Club, you guys. Thanks so much. Oh, okay. He says they removed it. Yeah, how dare they not? I can't do that. Can't do that. For Roadhouse, for Connor, come on. But all right, we will wrap up now with the end of the show Q&A, which we just got a couple here. Well, real quick, Synchro says, I saw Roadhouse and the interview Connor did after. How is he in any state to fight? Well, technically he's not yet, right? But definitely some questionable looking behavior if you've been around drugs or alcohol in your life. Not to recklessly speculate, but everybody else is. So there is that. But all right. Ramiro Jones is here. Says, hi, I heard Riggs is an women's expert. I used to write for WMMA rankings back in 2019, writing catchy headlines and sometimes making up headlines fighters never said get clicks. That's why we write. No. No. So I saw you put this in here earlier. And I also have a feeling this is not an actual writer. I feel like this is someone trying to get me to talk shit because I've never seen or heard of that name. No offense to you if it really is, but I know that you guys notoriously know I don't like that website because of their clickbait. And when you kind of say things like this, it gives me more reason if it actually is, but I'm skeptical because of specifically the part where you say, making up headlines fighters never said to get clicks. That's not okay. I am very strongly against that. And the big reason I fucking hate that website because that's what they did. So if you are doing that or did that, no.
Fucking stop.
Yeah, that should not be why you write. Fucking don't do that. And that's why you aren't writing for them now, right? So that's how it is. As he goes on to say, all writers are writing for clicks and money, correct? I now write independently, but can get ridiculed for my time at rankings. Rightfully so. Have any of you two been ridiculed for great websites you write for? So first of all, let's dissect this a little bit here. This is a double parter, but writing for clicks and money. So, I mean, those are hand in hand things. And unfortunately, like it's not a fun way or an ideal way to start out in media of any kind, but that is how it is in this landscape specifically, right, Alex? You have to, most websites are pay per click. So there is that. That's just how that works. It's the easiest way to fund a website, especially in mixed martial arts. And I think really for any startup, haven't done one myself, but that's just the basic format. But Alex and I don't get paid that way anymore. So once you get to a certain point, yeah, you don't have to worry about that nonsense. And lie in your case, Ramiro, I'm calling you out. I don't care anymore. But have we been ridiculed for websites you write for? So this is a fun question though. Yeah, I mean, honestly, we still get shit for Mania every now and then, for sure. I used to get flack for bjpen.com because they had a terrible reputation in like the mid 2010s, back before I was with them, but that stuck because they did similar things to WMA rankings. So you see, when that shit is done, it follows people, and rightfully so. But really, those are probably the only two ones for me, Alex. And I mean, even like all the big sites get shit for certain things, right? Like the more eyeballs, the more people can fucking, be negative about or whatever. So
yeah, I haven't really got any shit for MMA Mania because I'm very kind of bought by the numbers, like very don't really try to do it. But the only other time I really got it wasn't even my doing. It was the editor at the time switching my headline. It was for MiddleEasy.com, and I had written something.
The Chris Dawkins one, is that?
Yes. Fucking. It was like Chris Dawkins reacts to Cain Velasquez getting arrested or whatever, and they took that. They took that headline and said, "Chris Dawkins believes Cain Velasquez should be locked up."
Oh, it's just so bad.
And so I went in and I said, "You better change that headline, or I'm never writing another word for you again." And they sure did that. So
yeah. And that was a case too. I remember when even Chris called that out, and like, oh man, that was rough.
Yeah, so brutal. Yeah, it was brutal. So, yeah.
Thankfully, in cases, I never specifically have gotten too much stuff about certain things. I mean, it has happened, but it's more so, like we mentioned, kind of the website.
But also, like, people do not know what clickbait is. They don't know the definition of it. It is okay.
Like what Ramiro said about making something up. That's complete. He defined it right there. Like,
yeah, that is clickbait. But you're supposed to click on an article. That's the whole point of it. And as a writer, you're trying to get you're trying to get the reader to click on this article. And how do you do that? By making up a headline, or by creating a headline to make you click it.
Yeah, something interesting, hookable, catchy, but not completely flat out fucking lying to get them in there.
They should recreate it and say like hook bait. This is hook bait, like
yeah, exactly. Because the clicking happens no matter what. So,
yes,
it's all specifics there, but so interesting that you brought that up. As Ghost says, oh, look at that, I blocked that website we don't talk about. Why haven't everyone else here has? I know I broke the rule. They got me to say the name, Ghost. Oh man, I would never say the name, so we'll try and avoid that. As last thing here from Ramiro says, my boss told me that we need clicks above all else and push sexuality. That's clear. I didn't see anything wrong with that, but when I bring up my previous writing experience, people make fun of me because of what you just said. Like you're answering your own questions here, my man. Like, I'm sorry. You gotta. So here's what we got to do: is just recommend how you would fix this kind of situation. Which try and do the opposite, right? You gotta, because again, that's a stain that's gonna follow you or potentially following you now. Again, I'm still skeptical of how real this conversation even is I'm having, but if you were in that spot, Alex, I guess how would you react? You have to try and do the opposite, pretty much. Just clear it up, do actual good, real things.
Yeah, I mean, you have to kind of escape of what your past work is. Like that's the only thing you can do.
Yeah. So, best of luck to you. I mean, hey, it is what it is. But I mean, it didn't have to be. So I'm still judging, but not too harshly. I'll give you that. But all right. On that note, good lengthy show though today on a Wednesday here, as we got to all the important things that happened over the week, what is coming up, and just a lot going on still, even on this road to UFC 300. Man, oh man, it's creeping up. And WrestleMania, Alex. I'm actually pretty hyped for it. I usually, I'm a very casual behind the scenes wrestling fan follower, but I might have to sit down and watch this whole one this year. I'm pretty intrigued by it, especially as they seem to be leaning more out of the PG. That gets me excited, when they say more bad words and things.
Yeah, I need to catch up on the storylines because I have no idea what's going on.
You've seen The Rock has been there though, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, I've seen that. I basically watched up to like when they switched from Rock to Cody to the main event, but ever since then, like not really anything after that.
Okay, well that's a good checkpoint. All right, well with that in mind, you guys, we will sign off here. Thanks so much for tuning in. As always, feel free to, of course, like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff on all of MMA Mania's platforms: Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you've been watching. Follow us at @DrakeRooks_, at Alex Behunin, Twitter and Instagram. We kind of got our plugs out of the way early on, but we'll get them again. Alex, anything to add to those, or just reminder for the people that we got?
Yeah, I have a prospect of the month coming out to either late today or tomorrow. It is a Star Boy, and this is just a personal one. If you have UFC Fight Pass, I did a interview with Brennan Fitzgerald about me, and so if you have UFC Fight Pass, check it out.
Yes, of course. I don't at the moment, so I haven't got to it yet. But
you motherfucker! God damn it!
I talk to him every week, But yes, definitely check that out. It's cool cool deal. But yeah, as I mentioned off the top, of course, we do have our PFL Media Day, or not necessarily Media Day, but the little whatever you want to call it from yesterday that they did at Extreme Couture. We got those chats up on the YouTube channel now. Spoke with Charles Oliveira yesterday, Irina Aldana recently, Javier Mendez, Liz Carmouche. That one's coming out next week, and plenty more. I will be on the road actually next week in San Antonio, you guys. So I don't think we will have a conflict of time just yet. Here, let me look really while we're on air here. I know Media Day is on Tuesday. I think I'll just have to be a little bit quick leaving that, but should be good. There shouldn't be any changes. We should be back on Tuesday next week. I'll just be in a hotel room. So look forward to that stuff coming up next week. But other than that, pretty much laid it all out. So we will see you then. Thanks so much for tuning in, and stay safe and stay sane, everybody. Enjoy Atlantic City.